All right, I believe we are ready for lesson 5, creating the hayloft and setting up XREFs. Notice it's the same title as lesson 4, but it is a continuation. We got up past an hour in lesson 4, and I think we can get through this one quite a bit faster. I sure hope so. We got a lot to cover, though, so we're going to go fast. In fact, I may not even read all of this. I will scroll through it, and you can actually pause, but there are some things we have to correct a minor error. And one of the things you'll discover when is that if you use the processes that I'm teaching you here, you will find your own errors in a lot of cases. I do love the fact that I have a great friend that I went to school with who puts a second set of eyes on all my plans because I am not flawless and make mistakes, as many of you will witness. So, the error found here was I drew the clerestory windows on the outermost walls of level 1. I did draw it on plan 2, or level 2, but I didn't put it on the clerestory walls, which should have been to the inside because I didn't bring those in. And so what we need to do is we could do it by measuring, but it leaves more room for error, for human error. So I like to just bring the working drawing into the floor plans, where the floor plans are already in the working drawing by means of an external reference. So you have the thread of what's called a circular reference if you don't do it right. So we're going to do it right, and that bold part right there is where you can go to learn what all those settings really mean. I'm not going to go through it. I'm just going to do it right. We'll explain what I'm doing, but I'm not going to go through all the settings. So we use the new sheet for the hayloft floor plan, and I'll properly place the clerestory walls with exactly what we just said. Again, using that XREF command, attaching the drawing, the working drawing, where the elevations sections are created from the floor plans that are externally referenced to it, with specific settings to ensure that nothing goes wrong. It is important to understand that this is one drawing referenced, one that as one drawing references the other, as well as the other way around. I think I've got an error in there. Okay, I think I got it right now. It's important to understand that one drawing references the other as well as the other way around. So, circular reference issue. We shall relocate the single design clerestory window that we do have and put it in the right place in the plan view. It still shows up in the right place in the elevation, but we'll finish out the other 5 windows. I may just show a couple of those and then, of course, pause and do them, the repetitive stuff in the background. So, again, these windows are just generic for curb appeal only. They may change quite a bit once I have conversations. I don't even have them as operable. Kind of makes sense that at least the ones in the hayloft area would be operable if you want to let heat out from up above. So should time allow, then we're going to send everything to the plotting drawing, and including arranging the new hayloft in the plan view and then plotting off a full set of preliminary review for preliminary review by the building department. So, of course, I'll show you like 1, maybe 2, if there's still some difference, and then I'll do the others in the background. So let's get started. So what I've got here is just a quick way. I just highlighted the 4 drawings that we need open. So I'm just going to hit open, and off they go. So as they open, then I like to arrange them a little bit. There's an unreconciled layers that we just had there. So I want level 1, level 2, then working and plotting. So then we kind of deal with it at the end. So I'm going to put it up at the front. And when I click on plotting, we had a error, unreconciled layers. So click on one of these, Control A, right click, and say reconcile. Now this is going to leave you in a list for all the layers, and this is huge because we have a bunch of XREFs in here, so it's just tons. So just click here. Get yourself back to a primary set, or if you're just doing something really simple, you can go to even more simplistic set of filtered out layers. So that being done, we want to check our Viz Retain setting and just make sure that it's set to 1. And it is. Okay, so that means that we just probably brought in XREFs. We never reconciled the layers yet, but they shouldn't keep happening unless we unload and reload an XREF or something of that nature. So level 1, let's just zoom, extend, see where we're at. I'm going to draw a line from 0, 0, enter, happens to be on the center point. I'm going to bring it up, and I'm going to put it right in the middle of that, because I want to check, because we did have something kind of weird in the other one where it didn't seem like this was right. Now I just did it, Control-Shift-C, copied from there. I'm going to go into 2. I'm going to zoom in on that area. I'm going to Control-V, and I'm going to say 0, 0, enter. And it goes to where it should. And that's how what this is for. So when you drop one on top of the other in an XREF, they'll just automatically line up on their own. This is not a necessary level or layer. In here, we are on, this is level 1, or we're in level 2 floor plan. So we want to switch this to the working drawing, because we're going to bring the working drawing into here so that we can put in the clerestory window wall as it should be. So now that I'm on that current layer, let's just check out one more, see how things are doing. Check our external references, they look good. This looks good. I do like to at least see that my path followed me, because usually when I create these lessons for you guys, it sticks one behind. So I just hit select new path. It's on lesson 4, and we are on lesson 5. So all I got to do is go back out, go to lesson 5, and point it to, whoops, I don't know what I just did. Control Z. So what I missed there was I need to make sure that it's pointed to the floor plan. Select new path. We're in 5, so it is a 4.0, which is level 1 finish. Open. So that's done. I'm going to check the rest of them. Be right back. Okay, that repetitive work's done. So now we're in our XREF working layer, and we're going to bring in our, you can type XREF or you just go to the flyout. I dock mine there. So it's up to you how you set yours up. So I want to bring in the working drawing, finish. I use finish because you guys all have the start left from the last lesson. So these are the ones I work in, and that way it ends up being finished with the right title. So open. Now I do want to pick my point. Scale, all that stuff's good. Overlay, important. Relative, important. Those are the settings we need to ensure that we're getting a good, proper use of what we're going to have. Now, I'm just going to kind of not even wait for it to redo. This is big, so I'm just going to drop it. So it regenerates one time. There's my drawing I want right there. Yeah, my clerestory wall is showing itself, and there is my external siding, and then this is board and batten, so this should be a distance of 3/4. Yep, it is. So that's just a batten out there, so it's just a real thin line. That's why it's on color 60. And so I can tell where these walls are siding wise there. Got all my different layers for my sheathing, my insulation, my batting, siding. So this is my stud wall. So this is important to line up and make sure that things are all coming into proportion down here where I want them to. But in order to make sure it all really registers, if you remember, we left this line in because that is my baseline. So if I go to my baseline down here, white line, and I do X, let's get our layers. So I'm going to switch my layer set to all non-XREF is good. Then I'm going to switch my actual working layer to junk. Now, XL, vertical, put it on the one that is fixed, and move this. Now, I have this one. I have one with more detail if I wanted to go off of it down here. And it's even got stud walls. It's got where this exists. It shows different layers with more detail in it. This is just the rear version of that same thing. So which one you choose isn't really going to make a difference. But I think that using one of these with more detail is probably a wiser choice. So what I'm going to do is, this is an XREF, so I can freeze XREF layers without freezing the same named layer that's in my drawing. So I can freeze this hatch, and I can freeze notes. I can even freeze the name if I wanted to. Now I can X clip it. So XC, let's make it smaller. This is what I want to clip. And then I want it to be new boundary rectangular. And let's just grab it and reduce it down to the simple form we need. Now we can move this from, and we put the line on this side. So we're going to go from our baseline, which is the exterior of the stud, and we're going to bring it over and put it on this red line. And I'm just going to go NEA and put it there. Now it shouldn't interfere with me. I can double check by go XL vertical. Let's try this baseline. And it hits right at the exterior of the stud. So we're in good shape. Things are drawn properly. So let's get rid of those or even undo those. Let's move them. Let's use them. So let's move this one from that point, and we're going to put it at the place. Well, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense to put it there. Let's go to our stud and our siding on this side. And we'll ignore this side. Oops. Why it did that is because it's grabbing the XREF when I did a cross selection. So I'm going to delete those. Now this one's siding. This one is my stud. So if I want to offset my stud wall, I offset 5.5, enter, and offset it, and I bet it lands right next to my post, as it should. So here, MA, this truly is an exterior wall in. It's just on the level up. And this is just an exterior wall. And then the next one is our siding. So now all those layers are in there. So I can come up here, trim them off properly. So let's trim the two walls down to here. And the siding, we could bring it out to here. Or what kind of makes sense to me is to give kind of a visual representation. Trim it back, of course, and then clear it out from in our wall. So we can see it turns right there. When we put the roof in its overhang, there'll be a little more detail. So let's do that to the other end real quick. So I'm just going to go trim, pick all three. I'm going to trim it out from between and off the exterior, and then trim back to, this exterior wall in, and I'm going to trim off, it should be that guy and this guy. So now I've got those two. So I could mirror them around. And we want to make sure we remember we got that little guy. Here, oh, there's dimensions in there. Come over here, grab it, and then grab our little guy. And mirror it around this. Now let's get our roof line, our overhang in there. That's right here. Now, we haven't set this completely correct, so this is probably going to change. But if I go distance from here to our siding, it's supposed to be 2 foot exactly, and it's 2 feet to the board and batten. That it makes as much sense, because if you're 2 foot is my minimum overhang to help, especially at this altitude, from UV ray and all types of weathering, to be honest. So XL vertical. If you look at statistics on the maintenance of homes that have, based on the the size of the roof overhang, it's pretty shocking. So bigger roof overhangs are invaluable. MA, this is the roof line that's at the current level, sorry. So I want to change it to there. Now, I want to mirror it, and then we're going to explode the old roof line here because I turned it continuous because it's down below. It's not at this level. So it needs to be continuous, except we will see it at this level right here. Don't know what that is. I don't know what that is. Let's delete them. Are they at the other end? No. So I don't know where those came from. But we're going to just move forward. So here I'm going to go explode, X, choose it, explode it, and now it's a bunch of line segments. So what I'm going to do is break it there, and then I'm going to come over here and break it here, and go up to this end and do the same thing. Break it there, and break it there. Now I can extend it there, there, that, and this, that. I know it went. I'll have to look. After you get used to it, you'll have the confidence of what you've done. And so that is the upper roof. This is the lower roof showing down below. So this external reference that's in here, we don't need it just to stay there, but what if we want it again? So let's take it and let's not detach it, because then you got to put it all back, you got to line it up, all that, but you can just unload it. Now you can't see it, it's not using up the memory space, but it's still ready for the use anytime you need it. So that's ready to go. And what we did is we drew this window in here, and I'm going to take and erase that. And then we're going to move this window from this location. And to be sure I go straight, I'm going to type perpendicular in this case and move it to there. And you'll notice, oh, my siding is different up here than it is out here. Why is that? So here's where, geez, let's take a look. Reload. Come in, and we looked at this. We have probably 7/16, yep. And then we're gonna have 3 inches of insulation, yep. And that's insulation, REA, boom, there it is. And then distance from there to there should be 3/4. And then I just put a 1/2 inch siding, and then another 3/4, so this will be 1 1/4 total for the bat. So this looks correct. So my siding there is right. So here, let's check it. What's going on? So I've got my distance of 7/16. Got my distance of 3.5. Okay, that should be 3. Trim. Let's even delete it. Oop, undo. We have to do that in the working drawing. So we'll come in here. They're all going to be wrong. So it's going to be fix it and then repeat. So let's fix one and I'll fix the rest. So right here, I've got my 7/16. We thought that was good. Let's get rid of these. So I'm going to offset the 3 for my insulation. Then I'm going to offset the board and batten to hold that in place, 0.75. Then I'm going to offset the 1/2 inch of siding. Then I'm going to offset my 3/4 of an inch of batten. Whoops, that was 0.5. And I hit help. I do that all the time. Okay, offset 0.75 and put my batten in there. Now, my siding is here. So let's chamfer that. Now we have it identified. Let's trim these. Trim this down to here. This is a batten, or it's in elevation. So these layers don't go by name. They are a line weight. And so if I wanted to, I could put a line weight in here that was, yeah, if I wanted a thicker line to emphasize something in here, but in this case, I don't need any of that. But I do need some insulation. So, oh, that one's part of a block. We need a piece of blank insulation. Here's one that's even at the right width. I'm going to take one at the wrong width because I want to show you how to. No, this is the wrong width. That's our 3. This is 5.5. So we're going to copy this 5.5 because we need a 3. Copy that, bring it over, lay it in here somewhere. Now I'm going to come and put a line from here to here so I can center it. And we're going to move it from there to the midpoint. Oop, move that from there to the midpoint. And then if I click on this, I go to its properties, and I look, it says 6. Change that to 3. It fits within. Nice. And if you want, you can bring it up some more. This is slanting the right direction, so it actually would look good. And then you just need to grab it, or it is a line. Seems kind of weird, but that's a line. You can hit extend and bring it right down there. So that's one way to work with insulation really quickly. I can hit save, go back to my plan. It says I need to update. I did update. So I must have just made the correction to a different drawing. That's quite all right. So I'm going to pause out, go correct where it needs to be to figure out where that location is, just so we can get that siding located correctly. Be right back. Okay, so you'll notice there's some changes in here now. So if I want to check my siding, which is the magenta one, not the bat, I'm going to do XL vertical, drop it there. Let's check the other side. Wow. Oh, we can't. We'll have to mirror it around. Let's come down here and check that blue line. It's off. So we'll take this and move it back. Go to the other end because we exploded this thing. Move it down. Now I'm going to mirror this red line so I can do that again about the midpoint of the building. Come over to here, stretch from there to there. And you don't have to hit stretch. I can just grab the node in this case and move it over as well. So save that. Delete that. Probably one on the other side still. And we're starting to look better. What's going on here? Well, let's go have a look. Our siding is at this location. We felt good about that one. So let's check it. We go down to this location. Trim. Oh, I don't want to trim it yet. I don't want to lose it because it might end up right on this and something else is wrong and I just need to trim back. Yeah, it did land it right on it. So it's just telling me I just got to trim these back. So you can either grab them, do that, or you can hit trim and pick that. And then you can erase and make sure you choose that color. I like my selection thing to pop up. That's a setting in preference that you can make that happen. Other things I do is I don't like the new quick trim. So if you notice when I trim, I have to select the object I'm going to trim to and then select what I'm trimming. That's old school. The new way where it just automatically picks, sometimes doesn't go where I want, and I find it to be more convenient for me to be in charge. Have they changed that in 2024 to where you can do it with both? I don't know. But that is what I do and why you see that command the way you see it in my stuff. Unload. So it's gone for now. Now let's get these windows to where they belong. So the distance from this to this post is different to this post is different to this post. All three of these are different. So what we need is a line from here to here, and then one from here to here. And that way we know where the midpoint is. So I can copy this, copy that from, because I want the same size windows, from that to the middle. And if I look at it, it's off. But this is an easy fix. So I'm going to also copy the same one from there to here. Where's its midpoint? If I back up, oh, there it is. Okay. So now both at once, I'm going to move those. Oop, I've got that post in the middle. And then I'm going to move it from here back to here, and they're fixed. Now I can mirror those to the other side of the building, and I've got all my windows done in plan view with the exception of whatever's going on down below over here. I heard something about doors from the timber framer, and the owners just have not had time to confer with me on what they want. So I don't know. Save. All right. Now, if I want this one to look beautiful and pretty, even though I don't have all the information, we're on level 2. Okay, so level 2. Out here, these walls aren't as tall. I'm going to change this to come out, and we're about to figure out why. And then I'm going to bring that one out, and then I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to bring this one out. Now, between these, I'm going to trim that. I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to trim that. Do that on all 4 corners. And when I'm repeating commands, I'm just hitting space, space, space. I'm not hitting anything again. It's just space, space, space over and over. Now that I've got that, where I'm pretty happy, there's layers in here for all of the different materials and getting the insulation in. And if they wanted a stone wrap, then that would be way out of here. I haven't got word on that yet either. This is a 3-foot door opening, considering that they might want a 3-foot door opening. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mirror these layers less that one line. No, I'm going to bring that line. So let's mirror those about here at 45 degrees. And you're going to see they end up kind of in a weird spot. So I'm going to move all of them. I want to make sure not to grab my window layers. That's not one. And that. And I'm going to move these so that they line up with that blue line up here. Oh, and yeah, I didn't need this. Delete it because I have the blue line and there can't be stone veneer on the second level. So that doesn't even make sense. So I'm going to get rid of that. I'm going to trim back to here. Now, I'm going to mirror this blue line about here because this is a door. So in this case is where I trim out the siding. For door openings, I trim out the siding, and I also trim out the interior piece for that exterior wall in. Now I can chamfer these to get all these layers come together, take a nice look at that corner, and see if I like the way it looks. So the one thing we haven't discussed is, how much insulation are we doing? What I'm doing right now matches the main house. So here, I don't really want to see those walls down below. I'm going to delete that. I'm going to extend out to here. I'm going to trim to the siding those back. Oh, I got to trim this and this to get this one. Now, let's just do that all the way around. So I'll be back. So quickly, what I've got is I've got my layers going all the way around this guy as they should be, and they're all nice and straight. This looks like I got a distance issue right there at the end, and that probably went from setting a standard 1 inch. Yep, it's standard 1 instead of, and that's some. I do that because these lines get so close they don't print right. But what I've also come up with is, well, I can't see it up there, but the number of that, this is line 60. It's a very thin line. So I can take and move this, and let's just check the other side. And that looks good. That one looks good. It needs to come out to here, but it looks good back there. So I'm going to move that from there in 25, enter. Then we'll just trim it. That and here. There should be one more out here. And I bet, well, we checked the siding here, so that should be good. Looks like we may have an issue here too. So move that down 25 and then do the same trim. And I'm guessing that I'm going to see that on the opposite side. Seems like it just occurred on the ends. Yeah, that's off too. So move that one down about 0.5 and then do the trimming. So now that all that's straightened out, all I really need to do here is we're going to switch over to, it didn't grab it, A, pick our poche layer, and then do our hatching. So let's make these walls stand out a little more. And make sure that it says solid. You will see a little line and it prints really different if you don't have that solid. And it defaults here for every time on mine. It's probably something in my settings. So now, once I've got it set there, I can hatch. And now I don't have to set the solid again. It'll stay there. See, it's highlighted. And then I'll let that go, hit enter again. I just do these in little separate spaces, so if I gotta make a correction, I don't have to redo all of it. I'm going to do the other side. And there we have it. Now, when we plot this, it's going to have this nice gray shade. There won't be anything going on down on here. And to be honest, when we see this, they won't be there. And that's because they're underneath this roof. So in plan view, we wouldn't see those lines. And am I lying? Yeah, because they're under this solid roof. So they're there for reference, but we wouldn't necessarily see them. Looks like I am missing this guy. So I just want that one. And put that in, and let's see how it, yeah, CH. So that one I missed. So yeah, it's just going around, make sure everything's right. And then understanding what you're looking at. And so this is a solid roof. This is underneath it. So I'm going to hatch this. If I decide at some point to hatch this in the future, then I will do so independent of what's going on here because I want it to show up different. So I'd probably do, maybe a slashed line or something. And then I would create line styles, wall styles up in the top corner and just make sure that everything is defined. So it looks like I'm all trimmed up all the way around and it's looking sharp. So we can hit save. So we got our clerestory windows. We already did our elevation for this one window. It's the same size window. So all we need to know now is where are they here. So this whole drawing is going to change. When I come down to external reference, I need to reload this. And if it doesn't change, then it's probably because it's referencing the wrong folder. So let's check it and just select new path and see where it's going. Lesson 5, level 2 finish. Make sure it's finish and not, because even though it says finish, it may be referencing start. That's in that lesson in the Osberg set on how to change that and why and when and what happens. So it's still not occurring. Let me troubleshoot it and then I'll show you what I fixed. Okay, I found my error and it's a pretty grave one, but I think it's an easy fix. So I just hit open on this. It goes to lesson 4. It does the same for all of these. They're all in 4. If I open, it's going to 4. So if I go here and I right click on this and I say save as, it's going to 4. So what I've found is that when I bring up my two of these, I love doing them 2 at a time. And this is a lot of the reason why. Bring this one over further. You can see the date stamp for lesson 5. When I hit that right click open, I bet I opened lesson 4. My date stamp is now, it is 11:21 at this moment. It's taken me a few minutes to figure it out. Plotting, we haven't done anything in. So over here, plotting is at 10:23, nothing done. What's crazy is that, remember these have the same titles. All I'm going to do is shut the drawings down. I'm going to switch this to save 5 and this to save 4. And then I'm going to reopen them in 5. And we should have everything that we expect to have. So I'll be back after I fix that. So it's not going to let me change the path names unless I reboot the computer, which means I would have to close out this lesson. And we're 38 minutes in and we're doing pretty good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach this lower level, putting that poche in the wall so I can definitely tell one from another. I could extend this out all the way around as well. For some reason, there we go. There we go. Am I in yet? Come on. Be nice to me. I turned off the hardware acceleration and it's still giving me graphics issues. So we may have some difficulties, but I need to get this all the way around, poche this. So we need to switch to A, poche, go to hatch, pick the point. Yeah, that's not it. So undo. So I'm going to pause because it's going to take me a minute to get it right, but you'll see the idea. All right, seem to have my graphics working now. So all I'm doing is just hatching these, but I want to make sure they're on the solid. They are. Okay, so hatch. And the reason I'm doing these on this layer, and that won't work. So undo. And the reason it didn't work is because I can't see enough of that line. So it tried to take a guess at what I wanted, and it didn't get it because there just wasn't enough information. See how it's gone to there? I need that to be on solid. Now here, there's a long one. No, it's just going to be there. There. Now we'll hatch this corner and there for the opening. And then we'll do the same here undo, hatch. I just want this corner to the door because this one, I can do them in segments or I can just do them all. Because I think when we decide on what we're going to do on these walls, there's either going to be openings in all of them or there's going to be openings in none of them. And either way, I got to kill all the hatch there. So I'm going to hit save. The reason I did that is because I just want this verification as well. Yes, my XREF was modified. Boom, go to the lower level. Oops, that is the lower. And it looks like I've got 2 XREFs stacked on there. And then there it is right there. That one worked, but it's in the top. So this is before we did the switch. This is before we fixed all this. So it's kind of a mix of where we're at. So I don't want to screw this up. And all I've got changed in here right now is this guy. So what I think I can do is just check. This is working. Let's see where she's saved at. Save as. It's in lesson 4. So if I look at lesson 5, start. I don't think it's going to be cancel. Cancel. I want to open it. Almost overwrote that. So we're in lesson 4. We're going to just look at start. And we're going to ignore the unresolved references because this is just needs to be straightened out once I get this all figured out. So what's going on probably is that the working drawing was in this location. And this was at 10:23. Doesn't seem late enough. This is at 10:23 as well. So the start and the finish are at the same time. But let's see what we have in here. See all the... That's not there. I seem to have lost some work. So I think I'm going to have to, again, cut a lesson short and go back and figure out. Doing the lesson thing, it's hard because I'm doing this run, and if I make a mistake like opening up the wrong one, well, you see what happens. So I got to go straighten this mess out. I'm going to have to stop this recording. Hopefully you got a lot out of this, understanding how to do this part. And so we got through, to go here to learn really about the XREF command. We were doing the second level using the new sheet in Loft. We properly were placing the clerestory walls, and we got them in the walls. There's not in this drawing, and I had them open for a minute in one of the drawings, and that's what I got to figure out. I'm going to go to BAK files. If you guys don't know that trick, when you look in here, there's BAK files, and they may be from a totally different time. In fact, it's kind of weird that the date created, there we go, giving me my times. I want that stuff there. Date modified. Let's see if it's here. Just show you something. A lot of times this is actually where it was created as date modified, which I don't get. And maybe that's just a different type of file than not AutoCAD. So I don't see date modified here. It isn't definitely in pictures. You'll find that that's not always the right date and time stamp. So these are all exactly the same. So that looks like the copy over. If I come here, date modified. See, there's date modified, not date created. Date modified. Yeah, see, there's difference. See, this date created. I don't know. But you can see there's definite differences. This is modified before it was created. Yeah, I don't think so. So, I got to figure out what's going on. hope you got enough out of this. Let's see where we did go. I did want to go through that real quick. Again, we just used the extra command to attach the working drawing. And we did the right way around. We've got that so we weren't getting infinite loops. But what I did somehow was I just started using lesson 4 to do lesson 5. And so I don't think I've lost anything, but I got to go straighten it out. So, and then we'll relocate that. So clerestory windows, and I don't know, maybe I can salvage this. Let me give it a second before I call it quits. All right, that took some time, but I think that we are back on track here. So what we need to do is we're going to take these windows down. So we're going to do an XL vertical, drop a line there, one there, one there, one there. Then bring these windows, this kind of same window across. So I'm going to copy this. We're going to go from our window glazing to our glazing straight across, which is there. And then one more over here. And that be lined up just right. So they are. Okay, so we're in good shape there. So these can be deleted. And that is our elevation starting to come together. And we can do the same spline tricks here, where I'll spline down and then create the panel through there. Maybe put some in here for some siding. This isn't too busy up and through here, so I might add some in here and definitely here. So for this portion, I can just simply go hatch, place it in there, and then get our siding type, which is MA over here to here. And then we got to kind of decide if we want any more in here, which looks like probably a little bit. So we'll do an SPL and just bring that. Oh, it snapped. Escape. So do it from here, down, across, and down. And then over here, we'll do it again. Here, here, there, and across. Now when I hatch in here, it'll fill in that portion. And that gives us the siding look. And when it prints without these red lines, it looks pretty nice. And so down here, we don't really know what's going on. So we'll just do the SPL again. Drop something in here for now until we understand what we're going to do for openings and such down here. And so one more time, just to kind of show you what this can look like. So if these were big blank walls, then it starts to look like that. And we'll find out one point or another what's going to happen on that portion down there. As far as this is an elevation. So in here, we don't need any of this interior stuff, but we're not going to worry about it too much right now. What I'm going to do is mirror. I want my top plane. I want my bottom, this piece, and this piece. I will take both of those to keep track of where I'm at. I'll take my window and maybe that top and bottom plate. I'll take this guy, and we don't know what's happening outside if they want really anything at all. And then you can take these two layers and mirror them about that point. And then this stuff here would, just go to either the junk layer for now or whatever it's going to be. And the north elevation, we simply have this small door down below and then another one. Oh, this is up above and then another small door down below. So they're both the same. So XL, V, drop them in, there, there, and then come up to here. And we've got to get our location. So if we're doing a standard door, let's offset 6'8" and go up. And then here, we've got this floor system that's off the back, which is over here. So we'll do XL and then H and drop that across on the top. Now that's on the beam. So I don't know exactly what we're going to put up here. So I'm going to offset it just 0.75 for now, just to give it offset. There we go, 3/4. And then I can turn those just to a white layer for now. So since, oh, that's a section there. So we're here over the elevation. So I want to get my layer, this guy, the D object, so MA, and turn those white. Let's turn our doors white. And then from what we think may be that floor level, 6'8" there. And then I can just chamfer these out. There, there, there. And I just don't know if we're going to do a double door up there, a single door. I really don't have a notion as to what we're doing yet. So I'll simply trim that to there, trim this here, and then trim those there. And then it'd be the same sort of thing of, okay, we got a floor system in here, but it's really just defining the door is what we're going to see on the outside. So these are just trimmed back. And for now, I'll just use them as a placeholder. So I just trim them to here, one line, and then the same on the other side. And I don't even have the same place on this side because it's not critical at this point. All this stuff you're not going to see from this angle. So since it's an elevation, we would do the siding treatment, get rid of all this interior stuff, or turn it on to the junk layer. This is on detached. That's actually kind of a strange layer. We're going to put it on we were making it so we could turn that off. So let's go down to T and turn that, telling us it's going to go to frozen. So here, I'm going to do the same. And so I'm going to take that, I'm going to move it to T, and just so you, I think that message went over too far. And then just close to say, yeah, it's okay. And this little line, it's just a remnant that's not going to be part of our elevation for certain. So we get rid of that. Start to fill this in with this same sort of hatching and patterns. And then the same sort of thing over here. Maybe there'd be a small window up here to let some light in, or just even a vent. Depends on, if we are doing what we looked at over here, if we're insulating this thing and making it a nice warm barn, which we almost certainly will be doing, then this would be out at this distance here, and all this stuff in here becomes kind of extraneous. And that is just one of those little hidden lines, so you don't have to worry about that sort of stuff. So this would be filled in, and I will pause for a second, kind of do a little bit of that work. So as you do this system, you'll notice that you'll find yourself, maybe this guy was off. So these two are lined up with this red line. I found that baseline layer. So this is not centered here, and that's why these doors aren't centered. So I'm going to move everything really except those doors. But I have it all. And we're going to move it from this point, and we're going to go perpendicular here. And that centers it. And now this should be the correct distance here to make that all work. I'm hitting it bad, but anyway, I'll fill this in real quick and turn some of this other stuff off and start to get it to look good, because all we're going to see out here really is probably just the door itself. So I'll leave that line there as a reference to that floor, or to the beam actually. And it will come over further, of course, but it's not essential at this point. So it's mainly just doing the same thing of getting these to that T layout A. It's there if I need in the future, but it's not just hanging out. Got some extra lines. I don't really need to show this here at this point, or this, nor either of these for sure. And so all of this stuff just goes to the T. Move it over, fill it in, bring our fascia out. So we'll take and chamfer these two ends there and there. And you can see it's starting to come together. And so this one will extend out until it hit the exterior. So we can see bring this up to here. Do the same on this side. Up to here. And then you can see it's starting to take shape as an elevation and not a section such as we have over here. So it'd just be a matter of putting in how we want it to fill for this preliminary. And then the final step, once we get all of this done, is to go into, just looking at my time here, yeah, we're getting close to that hour mark. So I want to look at, let's say, an elevation view. And here's an east elevation. This says northwest. So all I want to do here, double click in my zone, zoom out. Now I've got a north elevation here. This is saying it's going to handle the north and the east. But once I've got it in here, I want to check to see that my scale is correct. That brings it down. So now I can pan it up into a decent location. And then what you want to do with this is get out of it and size it to a good location, which is going to be perpendicular to this gray line here. And then again, if we wanted to pan it, we could pan it over. This one would turn out to be an elevation, so these hidden lines won't be. And then what's happening right now is that it's got certain layers that are in here that if you go to your layer system and you come up here, I've got this one reconciled. So let's reconcile these. Control A, reconcile. Then I want to go and look inside my working layer and then decide what I want on and what I want off. And so we had stuff like we certainly don't want any of our, well, these are area things that we haven't discussed yet. So all those are turned off. You can see they're not in the viewport. But then we've got down here, I like to see them, but I don't want them to print, and so they won't. As far as the T layout aids and this guy, I think we had moved all that to T layout aid. So if I go to my layers, scroll down, and then turn my T layout aids so I can't see it, I'm going to see it. Now I have to click in here and then here. You'll see it clean up. All that stuff kind of disappeared. So I'm in a north elevation, and I don't know if we've completed that one yet, so we have to look back. This one says north elevation, but so does this one. And so our best bet is to look at this guy, and this is a south elevation. So the one that we worked on the most, this north elevation, I'm showing another part of the drawing. So we want to find this guy in our plotting drawing. And one way to do that is to zoom way out, come in on it. Now bring it to scale. So now I'm at 1/4 inch. Now I can pan it up to where I want. Once I pan it, double click outside, grab the viewport layer, and then size it down. So it's not that. Now you can copy it. And you could do, if this is the north and the south, then you bring it down here. I missed there, so we'll move it over. And then just come in here, bring it out, find our, oh, it's not showing. It's just turned off a lot. There's our north right there. Just not complete. So when we get it about center, again, we want to go and hit the 1/4 inch. There's one little trick you can do. If you don't want to get out of this green portion, but you want to zoom in on the whole piece of paper, lock it for a second. Now zoom extents, and then you're zoomed in. Now you can unlock it if you want to do any work in here. So I'm going to double click outside. Now this is set. So as I go back to my working drawing and I look at this, what's happening is that I need to save, go back to my plotting. It's going to tell me, hey, you got to update. So now I got my update, and as I filled in my siding and stuff, that's how you end up. So that is kind of laying out the plotting. It's the same. I just set my sheets up so that I can do all of these. If you have employees in your company, then this is just a great tool, because as you go through these, you can look at the plotting drawing, see where they're at, and not interrupt any of their work in the working drawing, and they just stay in here doing their work, and you can go through here, print it out, do red lines, and keep on moving. So that's what I've got for today, and hopefully this was great and helpful, and you've got another hour going on. So sorry about the little confusion with the file system there, but it is difficult to keep track of all these when I'm doing these lessons. So hope you understand, and we'll see you next time. This is Mark Farrar with Not Square Design. I'll talk to you later.